Every journey is a spiritual journey. When we set out in search of adventure, what we really discover is ourselves. For many women, the most sacred pilgrimage of their lives is the Camino of Santiago. When Jen Hoffman left her home in Oregon to walk 500 miles across northern Spain, it was the beginning of a much longer journey that took her into the American resistance. In those days, Jen was struggling with questions like, what do I do with my life? What am I here for? Afterwards, she found that, like the Camino, her life as a writer and teacher came with its own signposts. She just needed to pause and look for them. She had many helpers and allies, including friends she made on her long walk through Spain.
One of the great things about travel is that you're exposed to worldviews and people who you wouldn't normally meet in everyday life, in your work, in your social circle. And one of the things that I found in my own travels is that I get kind of an earful about about what our country looks like, to people in France, to people in Ireland, to people in Colombia, if I've got friends in New Zealand. So these folks tell me what our country looks like.
After the election, Jen's friends at home and abroad asked her, how could this have happened? What are we going to do?
So I began creating a weekly list of actions that people could take after I had about 2 weeks in bed eating Oreos 3 meals a day. I was really depressed after the election. Really, I was disillusioned that the world didn't work the way that I thought it was going to work. After I came out of that, I went to a local meeting of women in my town, and I teach social media strategy for small business. I'm knowledgeable about social media, and I think it's a tool. But this group of women that I met with were railing on how evil Facebook was and how horrible Twitter is, and they were overwhelmed by all of the memes that were going around and the actions that people were suggesting because they couldn't tell what was legitimate, which was phishing, which things were just feel good actions that weren't going to have any consequence. And so I just put up my little hand and said, if you guys want, I can create a list every week if that would be helpful of things that you can do. And I started it out for just 40 local women who were mad and scared, just like I was.
Jen's Americans of Conscience checklist went viral after the Women's March, climbing to 10,000, 30,000, 70,000 subscribers. Women make up the majority of her subscribers and 86% of those calling our legislators. I asked her why women seem to be leading the charge in the resistance.
I think women have more to lose with this president that we have right now. I think we really can see that we are losing things like healthcare, access to birth control, access to agency over our own bodies. And I think that's even more escalated if you're a person of color. So I think women are fearful, frankly, that this administration is going to bring us back to the 1800s in terms of women's autonomy over our own bodies.
Jen describes herself as a lapsed lesbian Catholic whose heart melts receiving the Eucharist, but who avoids Mass because of politics and conflict with church doctrine. Today, she draws spiritual sustenance from nature, from the people she loves, and from the wise women who point the way.
In my spiritual life, one of the things that I really refer to and really love is that quote by Anne Lamott that all prayers are either help me, help me, help me, or thank you, thank you, thank you. And one of the things that I would really like help for and that I think about when I'm in meditation is requesting divine assistance for perseverance, for being willing to surrender to the process and remembering that I'm a perfectionist. So perfectionists want to control the whole process and remembering that that's not my place. I can only do what I can. And where I'm getting help in remembering that is really, that's part of my practice is remembering to let go and being willing to be a servant. And the thank you piece is around the community that's evolved is in the wake of the election. So many people are connected that didn't used to be. So many people are learning about communities they were never aware of before. And I feel so much gratitude for that evolution, that we're becoming stronger as a democracy because we're reaching out to one another.
This is Karen McCann saying stay tuned because we're just getting started.